Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Sosbans and Sidesteps podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, Mr. Huw Griffin and the one and only Pringle. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Yeah,
Good
good.
evening.
Do you
Yeah,
think this
good.
do you think this is going to be our most viewed ever podcast or least viewed ever podcast?
Well,
Hmm,
considering who our viewership are, it's got to be the most. By far, it's got to be the most.
no comment.
Okay, so dive straight in. Why not? Got nothing better to do. Benji, you were obviously there. Me and Huw. Well, actually, Huw, did you even watch the game?
Well, I didn't see the first 50 minutes. So basically what happened was on Tuesday night last week, the missus has gone out for what she thought was a girls' night out. She's rocked up and everyone's got their fellas there. Everyone's got their partners there. She's the only one who hasn't brought a man. So she, rather than say, I thought it was a girls' night out and I didn't invite him, I didn't invite Huw, what she said to the host was, Huw didn't want to come. So she's Judased me by that. And
Oh
then
no!
uh she's come in and she's told me what's happened. And she's told me she's done that. And then she goes, like, and there's another do on Saturday afternoon. And she goes, well, you don't have to go. But I'm like, well, I kind of got something else on, you know. I know it's the world's smallest violin, but being a rugby content creator means that your Saturday afternoons you're kind of busy most Saturdays. But she goes, you've got to go because you didn't go to the last one. And I'm like, I didn't know, I didn't know about the last one. So
She
out
knew
out
what
I've
she was
gone,
doing.
out I've gone to one of the pubs in Leamington, and 10 quid for a Guinness and a Diet Coke,
Hmm.
and had that,
That's England, Huw.
and then buggered off. But it was probably a good thing because if I had seen that first 15 minutes from the Scarlets, I think I'd have gone into cardiac arrest.
Oh, you
So
switched off, when you?
it was probably a good thing that I missed that
Hmm.
portion of the game and only caught the good bit.
I mean, I've got to ask now for a bit more info on the story. If she had messaged you on the Tuesday and said, "Look, I've messed up by you. Can you get your ass here?" Was it possible? Could you have got there?
Look, it wasn't beyond the wit of man for me to get there. We could have made it happen, but there was a shit like she had a hard time getting me to go to the one on the Saturday, trying to get me to go to the one on the Tuesday whilst it was going on, whilst I was at home, and she wasn't there. I don't blame her for not trying.
Oh wow, that doesn't say a lot about you, Huw. I'll be honest, mate.
Hmm.
Well, I went, didn't I? I've gone.
All right then. All right, that's enough side chat for now.
I'm
So,
disappointed, I gotta say.
okay, are you disappointed in who or are you disappointed in the game? We need to make this clear right now.
Well, nah,
He's always
nah,
disappointed in the game. We could beat
no.
Leinster 50-0, he'd leave going, oh
I
shit.
know he does
Yeah,
never leaves the ground happy,
no,
does he?
no. It's because I was surrounded by the sprays, innit? And that's all
You
I did was
brought them.
moan. What? I
You
did,
brought
yeah,
them.
I did bring a few, yeah. There were six of them actually. It's too
That's a
many.
full allocation, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
that was
lot.
that was all. That was all of them. I was there. Was a couple at the front, but they were just swearing at the ref all the time. I don't know what was going on. Um, right. Well, it was meant to be a nice sunny day in Llanelli, but it turned out to be a rainy, horrible, drizzly day in Llanelli. But it was sunny on the Scala side of things, wasn't it? Because we won. So, well, I would say a change
Happy
because we haven't
days.
won in the last four, five,
We had three
Two,
defeats on the bounce.
three defeats on the bounce.
Munster,
three
Ulster,
Stormers, yeah.
yeah,
No,
Munster,
as
Ulster.
in like the sprays now, not.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
been a
been a
few
long
years, isn't
while
it?
coming.
they did the double
Yeah,
over us last season, and then they
Yeah,
obviously beat us in the one earlier,
yeah,
the not Boxing Day game.
yeah. So it was nice to get the win. Well, at first, I mean, we've spoken about this briefly, but this first 10 minutes, I thought, here we go. This is gonna be, you know, same as last season, because yeah, they won by about 40 points last season, did they?
no, that didn't happen.
No, no. But Jack Walsh scored in the overtime. We were trying to play out from our own 22. Jack Walsh got an
Yeah,
intercept.
yeah. So yeah, I mean those first two tries, yeah, we've got to speak about that. Unfortunately, the mood did. I mean, before the game, obviously with David Yuan and
Yeah, what was that
everyone's.
like? Everyone have a good sing song?
I was expecting more, if I'm honest, more sing song, but I think everyone's a bit nervous. Everyone's a bit,
Hmm.
waiting for the game to start. But yeah, no, it was good atmosphere. I mean, everyone was, uh, you know, waiting, and then when that happened, the whole try in that Alice Craig cock up, as we call it, yeah, the mood did drop a little bit. What was it like
After,
on TV? Whoever,
after I'd
well,
done my rant last week about our restarts, and then we go and do perhaps the worst
uh,
restart in the whole
Jet,
history of rugby union, association rugby
Mm.
union football. Oh my
nothing,
days.
nothing was going right for us in that. I don't know. There was a few passes to like Eddie James. He kept dropping them, and you could feel like here we go again. That was literally the mood where I was. Um, and then it started raining, and we think, oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Uh,
It's gonna be one of those days. But yeah, I mean, glad to get the win in the end.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I'm like I think I said to you boys in the group, I'm content, with obviously 5 points. That's the most you can ask for, a
well,
plus
six
16.
tries. I mean,
Yeah, I
I would
think I'm
taken
pretty
that.
sure that's the most points we scored at the park this season.
Yeah.
I'll look at it later. I'm not doing it now. It's too early on. I need to warm up first. But no, I mean, it was a bit of a roller coaster, obviously taking that loss, the 17 points early on. And then obviously just, massive resolve to come through. So yeah, it was a very topsy turvy game in that respect. Do you know what I actually thought during the game? Oh, they've probably planned this. If I thought, we went 15 points up against Cardiff and let them back in, or we'll probably make sure there's a few more points and then we'll do it to them. And by God, we actually did. I was almost in panic mode around that 15-minute mark. Just everything. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong, and wow, it was just so
Well,
bad.
from that 17 points, I think they only scored 7 points after that in the second half.
5.
5.
£5. So
And even that was our own mess up. Just
yeah,
two,
I mean,
like obviously down a man, and then two very poor to average at best the tackle attempts. It,
um, done with him. Yeah.
every single one, all 22 of their points came from our errors, and three of them from the referee's error. But we'll get into that a bit later. Who you haven't given us your emotional feelings after watching that game back? How was it, but
After watching the game back, obviously when you're watching it back, you'd skip all the stoppages and things. And because you obviously knew the result, so it was all right. So, but by goodness, that, like I said, the first 15 minutes is the worst we've played all season. And like I said, I'm glad I didn't watch it live because my head would have gone. My head would have absolutely gone. Um, so to turn it around as quickly as we did was just a big relief, obviously, and to get the win, to be 17-0 at halftime, I think is an achievement. And it is funny, Mark, like you said, if we go 2 scores up, we're probably going to lose. Apparently, if we go 2 scores down, we win. It's just one of them
Eh,
because Ulster went
we don't play
17.
that game. We don't play
Ulster
that
went
game, do
17-0 down on Friday night and won
Yeah.
38, scoring 38 points. Funny old world, isn't it? So, what do you think? What do you think was the heart of the turnaround? What do you think? What do you think changed?
I mean, it everything was going wrong, and I think it was just a case of someone just not even so much as a rally cry, as if just to go, boys, calm down. We've got this. We've done our analysis. We've done our prep. We've bloody got this. We can take them down. And obviously, Josh McLeod is at the forefront of that, and he leads from the front. He always has, and I think he was a driving force in that. There was a scrum. What was it, around the 18-minute mark? The sort
Yeah, it's
of
18 minutes, 40 seconds, I want to say, on halfway.
and the sort of momentum sort of shifted from that point on, and obviously very much soon after Blair Murray went over, and it was just a catalogue of errors on their part then that led to the first yellow. And fair play to us. We pushed on, got that penalty try. He did send off the wrong man, mind. I'm not gonna argue with that. Is Hardy?
Well, he didn't go off. I didn't realize that no one spoke
Well,
about that on socials or anything. I don't
when
know if
I
you
saw it from where I was, he didn't even go up to a player and said, "You're off." He literally just put the card up, walked back to halfway. So
Yeah,
clearly no player thought who's off,
we got a penalty off the back of it because the AR comes in off the restart. Like something had happened off the
to
restart. The
see he's
ball had
still
gone
on.
off. And the
Yeah.
AR's coming and goes, "Oh, they've still got 14 men on the pitch by you." And he's gone, "9, you're off." And Kieran Hardy, Agent Kieran, has gone, "Who, me?" And the ref's like, "Yeah." And he goes, you can hear him on the player mic, goes, "What for?" And the ref goes, "For the maul." And he goes, "The maul? Me?" So
I saw
clearly
something
was,
on Twitter that
Yeah.
said he wasn't even anywhere near the mall, apparently. So
No, he was at the back. Henry Thomas does trundle into him, but if you see the backside angle, you can see Ratty literally go falling onto the legs of some of our players just before that happens. So you
hey,
can.
Ratty, he's had a shocker of a week, hasn't he? He outed himself on Scrum Fight, did you see?
I know. Wow. How
Yeah,
you
it's like,
can't do that in the build up to this game, like
yeah, I grew
Jesus.
up in a house from where I could see Parker Scarlets from. My dad's a Scarlets fan. He took me to see the
I
Scarlets
heard
every
that,
week.
yeah.
But I'm not a Scarlets fan. Like, sure, mate, sure. And
Kane put him right, didn't he?
Tane's going, "You have definitely got a
Ah,
Scarlets jersey," and he's like, "No, no, I don't." Like, there's zero chance that his dad, if he lives by Parker Scarlets and his dad's a Scarlets fan and he went to see the Scarlets every week, he's got a Scarlets jersey.
was that the interview he said at
No
the end?
doubt.
He goes, "Oh, but he's a bit of an Ospreys fan now because I'm
Yeah,
playing for them." I was like, "Yeah, whatever."
yeah. He's not an Ospreys fan. He supports you when you're on the park. That's
Yeah,
about as
that's
far as it goes.
yeah, that's it.
Be a good replacement for Craig, though. I've heard someone say.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, he shouts. He's got the height. He can move around a bit. I mean, I know we are in
Lock
the
6
market
hybrid.
for a lot. I mean, he's not the sort of lock six hybrid we've kind of been used to in recent years. Max Douglas for one, Tag Burn another. Not putting them in the same category at the minute, by the way, just before anyone starts biting my head off. But yeah, he's not quite that category of player. But yeah, he would certainly do a job, and I wouldn't say no if he came here. No rumors I've heard. I don't even know if he's in contract, out of contract, whatever.
Cubby would have seen that on socials and gone, "Hang on, buddy, just going to pick up the phone now, drop him a text."
Yeah, you can imagine
Probably just go across the
literally in
road,
the
like
coming weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
knock on his door, right?
Yeah, go around his dad's house.
Yeah.
Like, how would you like a hospitality box for the season? Job sorted. I've totally forgotten where we were.
Okay, so we turned it around. So we got okay. So speaking of turning it around, so this is a very very neat segue into it. Just after I've mentioned that Josh McLeod 2 turnovers, 11 out of 11 tackles, and ruck speed for the Ospreys was painfully slow. I think it's like in the 30% tile for rucks slower than 3 seconds,
Ooh,
faster than 3 seconds. So Josh has just done a job on him there at the breakdown. The Ospreys lost the ball every 7 carries, conceded a turnover every 7 carries. So that was good. And they only had 7 lineouts as well, which for the Ospreys is obviously not enough. But they
yeah,
only, I'll tell you what else they had, 10 scrums, 4 of which were around the 50-minute mark. Now, Mark, when this happened, when this went down, I messaged you and I said, we'll have a deep dive on this on the pod. So we talked about turning around the momentum. We need to talk about this sequence of 4 scrums that the Ospreys had on the Scarlets 5 meter line, where we've gone from the brink of conceding a yellow card and a penalty try to shoving them off their own ball and winning a penalty and clearing our lines, which we then go on to score the 6th and final try. So take us through it then, Mark. So we've done a thread on Twitter that people can check out if they want. Follow Sosbans and Sidesteps on Twitter at Scarlet Pems, which is an old handle from ages ago. So let's start us off at Scrum 1 then. So I think they've been awarded a penalty on our 5 meter and they've opted for the scrum.
yeah. So, like I said, they've opted for the scrum by it's a simple, basic setup. Everyone knows it. They've come together, and it go down pretty sharpish. Simple as I'm thinking reset. But if you look at it a bit more closely, you can see Steph Thomas's elbow is angled down, pulling it, and it hits the ground, more or less straight away. So, I mean, for me, I'd probably think reset is probably the fairest option. Or if you are going to be cynical on Steph's elbow, you could go Penn Scarlets. But Colby has awarded a scrum for apparently Wainwright hinging. So you can tell when a player's hinging, just the speed and the angle at which they just go, and there's none of that going on with there. So I don't know what he has seen or what his AR has seen, but there we have it. The Ospreys, they think we've got one by year, and they opt to go for another scrum.
They do, and we're in trouble. I'll let you carry on. So this is scrum number 2.
This is beautiful work, illegal work, but beautiful work by the Ospreys. So you can see it. The bind has gone in. If you're watching this on YouTube and you physically see our screen right now, if you just watch the second row's feet, they engage and then they take a step to the right. Now, where they've done that, it's made Botha push on an angle in. It's completely wiped out Hepburn and Fafita. So it's essentially 8 against 6. And they just march us back. You can even see the angle that they're coming in at. Obviously, there's no way that that's straight. But, neither here nor there. They've pushed us back. The ref has gone, hang on a minute, you're completely mullered by you. And he's just given, was he given a pen advantage to this and then he got in the way of the ball? I'm trying to think of which one this was.
Yes, that's right. That after this, Luke Davis. Oh no, Morgan Morris passes the ball into the referee.
Yeah, that's kind of silly of Morris, really. But there you can see where the ref is. He probably should move a bit, but you can physically see where he is.
He's got to stand somewhere.
Bit of naivety.
He also runs towards them, which is.
I mean, if you've got a set play by there, you obviously look up and check your surroundings before you actually pick up and go. Like, it literally, not even half a second, like, eye up, who's around me, pick up and go. So to just throw it into the ref is a bit silly, but there. So anyway, they decide to go again. So this takes us to scrum 3.
But before that, there's a quick chat between the front row union. They have a bit of a think, and they come up with a plan. They make a plan.
They do make a plan, and you know what's going on by here based on what happens further on. So again, if you can see this one, it's a nice little coming together. But I can't think of Wainwright has gone low by here, and he has negated Steph Thomas. So any sort of shunt from the left-hand side can't come, and Hepburn has done a terrific job of stopping, both are trying to cut in between him and Elias, and it all just sort of goes down in a heap. You can decide who's wrong, who's right for you, or whatever. But, he calls play on, and they play on. So I can't remember what the next penalty.
I think we give away an offside penalty. By the way, just as an aside, Roby Pass's stat says that Tane Plumtree didn't give away a penalty in this game. That is not correct. Anyway, scrum number 4.
You shouldn't have corrected that. Scrum number 4. Now, this is a piece of beauty, and piece of beauty from our side. So exactly the same as the last scrum. You've got Sam Wainwright going low against Steph Thomas, and you can see that his back is never perfectly straight. You can see a slight arch in it, like I think it's up by his shoulders and sort of, just behind his lungs. You can see there's that arch. So he hasn't got that straight back. He can't give that full shunt. And just like in the previous scrums, Botha has tried to angle in a little bit, tried to stay with it.
You can see there the number 18. You can see the number 18 from Tom Botha's back is pointing towards the camera.
Yeah, so you can see how he's gone, but there he stepped out to try and go, and literally just as he stepped out, his foot has obviously come off the ground, and the moment that foot has come off, Hepburn has just driven straight through into him, into his sternum, popping both are up, and they get pinged for popping up in the scrum. And honest, you can see the celebration from Hepburn from here. It is quite a thing of beauty because it was multiple things happening from both props. They had to work in unison, otherwise this doesn't work. Sam had to stop Steph from getting any sort of momentum on him, and Hepburn had to time that to the quarter second. And I'm literally quarter second. If he's any later, if both of us even got two studs in that ground, he's not going back the way he does. But it is a thing of beauty to watch as someone who loves scrums and loves the scrum battle. So you can just rewatch it all day.
You can tell from how he reacts. You can tell from how he reacts and how he's like appealing to the ref as the scrum goes round. It's not just like relief. It's not just like, thank goodness I've got away with one. It's like I've tried to do something there and it's come off.
Yes, come
Like
off. Yeah.
it's the reaction of a man who is given everything to something and has pulled off something, and that's a celebration of I did it rather than phew. Because if he thinks he's gotten away with one, he's sheepish there, and he doesn't say much. They've had the chat, they've made a plan, they've executed it, and he's delighted.
No, and while we're on the subject of Hepburn, been critical of him in a negative sense of his scrummaging this season. There have been moments where he has shown, some of his former form, shall we say, which got him capped by England and Scotland. I said, I think it was about a couple of months ago, where he was just jumping around at a scrum when a pen went against him, and he just couldn't believe what was going on. This was the exact opposite. He's jumping around because he's absolutely got the decision. He's worked his ass off. Fair play to him. And Sam Wainwright. Again, I've said it probably every single week that Sam has played a game since he's come back. And also even before that, he is such an underrated scrummager. I think he's still only 26 years old as well, as a tight head. For someone who's got the experience now of his age, and he's only going to get better over the years. Another 3-4 years of Sam Wainwright scrummaging a tight head, and then he'll still have another 3-4, possibly more years left. He is a weapon, and it is something that can't be ignored for me in the national setup. When you look at the stocks we got, and I don't like being critical of other teams' players, but when you see that someone like Ben Warren has been called into the Wales squad, who quite frankly can't get his leg positioning right, can't get his back arch right, it makes you scratch your head. And like I've been asked by an Ospreys fan going, why can't Ben Warren scrummage? And like, if the wrong team's fan is asking someone else a question, can you give us an open view of what's going on? It tells you that they know something is wrong. There's a reason he's there the third choice. Really, I'm not actually sure they.
I think he's second choice. I think he's second choice behind both of it.
Second choice now, but still, the tight head has been an issue for Wales since Samson Lee got injured his first time many moons ago, and then Thomas Francis decided, I'm going to go France and have a bit of fun, which he's well entitled to do. So yeah, Sam showed when he first came on the scene, when he won that vital scrum out in South Africa to get us that first ever win on South African soil for Wales. And he's just been left in the wilderness since Scotland came back. So I am looking forward to seeing whoever comes in actually take proper stock and go, hang on a minute, this guy can actually scrummage. And to be fair, he's under on the park.
How long did he play for on Saturday? So obviously, for where I've stood, I
He
see.
came off the bench. Henry Thomas started. I want to say he came on the 50th minute.
Right, cool. Yeah, I didn't know when he came on because I must have missed it. But, It's really hard to see. Those are my first time seeing the scrums because obviously you can't see it from the terrace. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you've renewed your season ticket yet, but you might want to think about maybe getting a seat up in the
no,
stand. You
I
can
I
see a
have
bit better.
I have renewed, but I will be doing the hospitality again.
How many
See where well from there.
To be fair, there's only 11 guaranteed home games. That's only one a month. If you start saving now,
Yeah, exactly.
you could probably do
That's
it.
only
That you could probably
700
do it.
quid a year, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
mean, when you Pringle, I'm pretty sure you can do it. Like,
yeah.
Just a bit more disposable, I guess.
Shall we analyze a sexy try then? Because we didn't get any in the last game. Well, we got one in this game.
Did you
Like
see
we
they
one
always
sexy
get
try?
60 tries.
well, we had a couple to choose
There's a
from,
few.
but the one like the Joe Roberts one was just kind of duet, whereas this one I think there's a bit more to get your teeth stuck into. So it's a line out. This is why when the Ospreys are down to
Is this for feeders?
2 men, this is for Feeta's try.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously line out. We know the Scarlets are good at strike plays off lineouts. That's why we were so frustrated in the last couple of games where we didn't see any of it. A little bit, as a bit of an aside, I'm kind of like Eddie James is starting to just become a crash ball, and I'm like he can do more than that. So I'd like to maybe see ease up on it a little bit, but he crashes it up. He's basically gone from a standing start there. If you look again, this is probably going to mess up the replay now. Yeah, it does. He kind of goes from a standing start because the pass is behind him. So he's standing start up against Owen Williams. Owen Williams, thanks for coming. No bother, and go straight away. This isn't particularly fast. You can see Adam Beard. He's got his hands up. So for audio listeners, so they've done a crash ball from Eddie James into the center of the pitch, and then they're flashing back right again to
So
attack
second
where the line
phase.
out just was.
This, this,
It's I think they call it an 11 phase. One way, one the other. And you can obviously so the clever thing about this is they've gone blindside when the Ospreys are down to 2 men. So what the Ospreys are worried about when they're down 2 men, so they're down to 13, is the space out wide. So when they get out of that line out, all of them are thinking about we need to get across to the other side of the pitch to cover the space that's there. But the Scarlets are planning to go the other way. So they flash the ball back this way. You can see Adam Beard has read it. He's calling players across. It's a missed 2 pass from Cowdor to Sam Lousy. Now, Sam Lousy, I think it's fair to say, he's up against Ben Warren there. Like, no offense to him, I think Sam Lousy is probably ball in hand more skillful than most of the Ospreys type 5. So we've seen him pop up in the centres for the Scarlets this season. So he draws a man. This man running through, I don't know if you can see him. That's Alex Craig on like an I want to say out to in line. Yeah, out to in line, kind of drawing, and he holds this other Ospreys player here. Now Dan Edwards is in a world of pain. So Lousy's played the ball backwards to Huw and Lloyd. If I just run it on a touch, you can see here the Ospreys, the Scarlets have got 10, 15, 14, and Verfafita up against 3, 4, 5 from the Ospreys plus Dan Edwards. So all Huw and Lloyd. Sorry, go ahead, mate.
To be fair, Fafita has got the pace of a winger.
Yeah.
You've basically got Huw and Lloyd who are, can put the afterburners on as a 10, and then basically 3 players with pace.
Yeah. So Huw and Lloyd, all he's got to do now is just deliver that ball to Max Page, and it's essentially a walk in from here. So Adam Beard's nowhere near it. None of these Ospreys players. You look at the numbers of the Ospreys players that they've got here. So you've got, I want to say that's Alex Craig, but you've got 6, 5, 4, 3 for the Ospreys up against 15, 14 Verfafita for the Scarlets. I think that's Huw and Lloyd as well there, between Adam Beard, and it's essentially a walk in from here. Agent Combeer steps in, does the deed in terms of being drawn by Max Page, and Verfafita's literally walking.
I love how casual he is.
Yeah. So one thing I really like about this try, and as critical as we will be of Huw and Lloyd, because again he's not a 10, it's him and Blair Murray that make this try. The way they start.
I just want to mention. Look, this is Alex Craig running the centre line here to hold. I don't know exactly who that is. It's an Ospreys forward.
I think that's Warren.
It's a Warren, yeah. Go on, mate. You were saying about Lloyd and Blair Murray.
So if you go back to the start, you'll see Lloyd and Blair Murray straight off the line out, they're running open. They go in the other side of the park, and like you said, forcing the Ospreys, man, they want to run wide anyway, but they just allowing it to. And just as they sort of, before they're hitting the ruck and Cowdo's going for the ball, they switch. So instantly they're running back on the blind, and it creates this 2-man overlap, which is absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get it. Oh, we'll have to go back to the beginning when we.
Oh, hang on. Right. Okay. So this is Eddie James trucks it up. Cowdor missed 2.
And you can see it both over there. They've just turned round and
Yep.
started sprinting the other way. And it creates that 2-man overlap because we've got plenty of boys for there. Obviously, Ospreys are down to 13. Very different prospect against 15, but you've got to be clinical when you're given those opportunities. And by God, we were in this game. We've had games in the past where they've been down to 14, they've been down to 13, and we've literally created nothing. You know, and that's
well, we were saying for weeks, and we've got such the most dangerous wingers in the league. And as soon as you get the ball to them, give them some space to run, and Fafita, obviously, they'll get in. So, yeah, it's nice to see us trying to play wide.
What do we think of? Oh, you go ahead, mate.
Outside back wise, I do think we've probably got the most talented set in the URC, especially
all 3 of our back 3 players beat 3 defenders in this game. All 3 of them. So that's 9 defenders beaten just in that bit there.
And then you've got the talent of Eddie James and Joe Roberts. We've even got Johnny Williams in there, Tommy
You can
Lewis.
see why certain other people were so desperate to sign our centres, can't you? Eddie James celebrating with his contract renewal with a tribe, by the way.
Yeah, you can do it. I mean, I suppose it could be a belated celebration for Joe Roberts as well, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Roberts try, by the way. Props up again to Alec Hepburn. That was a beautiful, beautiful hanging line on the outside, hugging that touch line, and then just little I'll stink you back in. I'm playing a bit of basketball by you. I don't need to play rugby at this minute. And yeah, Joe just strolls in. That's a beautiful try again. I think that was the one straight after halftime.
Yeah, it was.
But either way,
it must have been a funny feeling in the ground at that point, Ben Gie, after we went down 17-0, and then literally click your fingers and with 2 scores up.
I think there's a lot of people that just couldn't believe it. They were just looking around with arms out like this, going, "What's happening here?" And especially when we had that try, we were just like, "Oh, right, I guess we're winning this."
Yeah.
I mean, no one expected a win. I got to say, we spoke to loads of people before the game. No one expected a win. No one said that we deserve winners. So
apart from Big M, obviously.
Apart from Big M. But in the ground, that was the feeling.
What do we think of Blair Murray's with 15 then? Because he's been playing there for Wales. It was his first game for the Scarlets in 15. I think the good thing about it is he gets his hands on the ball more, which is always a good thing.
He's got a good run, gets his speed going.
And his kicking from hand is underrated in terms of the length he gets. I think he's our longest kicker.
Outstanding boot from one of them X's. It's like 55 meters. He just belts that down the park. I think we're coming to a point where if going forward it is Rogers, me, and Murray, they're all interchangeable. It's not going to matter who is what number on their back. They're going to be able to swap in and around to what fits the situation best, and that will be the challenge going forward. Once we get Rogers back in training and trying to mold them into that sort of back 3, because let's be honest, if you coming up against an opposition, you know what their back 3, what their best back 3 is going to do. You know what they like to do, and you go, okay, they're 50, and let's say you're going up against Cardiff, you got Cam Winnett. You know he's not coming back at you with pace. He's not going to be beating defense. He might put a decent kick in. You might get some space around the side, but he's not going to be blitzing you. When you got to say, okay, Murray's no way, it's going to be me. No, it's going to be Rogers. They all offer something slightly different in the way that they run and the way that they attack the line, which for us is absolutely brilliant. For other people, obviously, it's hell. But that is something I'm excited about. not bothered who wears the 15 on the back of their shirt, so long as the job gets done. And I didn't see from the eye test at least many go wrong for Blair. I didn't see him drop any balls. I'm
No.
not saying this was much confidence.
I'm still not 100% sold on him in the air, but he's a small man, so that's always going to be a disadvantage for him.
I mean,
But
well,
he did. I don't think he was bad by any means in this game in terms of in the air. I know he lost one, but he won a couple as well. So I'm not having to go at him. I just think that's still probably the one area where, as a fullback, I'd say it's his area of improvement.
Yeah, so
He's not
he's
Tom
5'8".
Rogers in here, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
He's 5'8". So Huw, you can remember when we went to the Cardiff game together. That's my height. Ben Gie, I don't know how tall you are, but so I can't. I am
Not as tall as
imagining.
Huw, I can tell you that. He is a
No,
tall boy.
no one's as tall as Huw. Ellis Smee's not as tall as Huw.
No, Ellis Smith is taller than me.
He's very deceiving on this screen right now because he's a tall boy.
Well, the thing is, his camera is 10 foot high. That's what you've got to tell me.
All right, come on, let's talk about rugby. So,
Stop talking about height, please.
what other star players are we thinking in the game then? Who else do we think deserves a pat on the back?
Manus, as always, but it's kind of becoming boring now to say his name. But
The
it's just what he does.
The thing is, Marnus and Josh McLeod must be, especially Marnus towards Josh McLeod, because he's robbed a few tries off him. And
Phil be Christ.
And if Josh McLeod wasn't a thing, Marnus van der Merwe would be head and shoulders our player of the season. But unfortunately, Josh McLeod's about.
Yeah, it's a shame for a hooker when you've got a captain and open side as selfish as Josh McLeod when it comes to scoring tries. Like, I think I've said it before, it's a good tool and a good tactic to have at the mall, to have that second person at the back to take it on, to maybe split off from the mall when it's, haven't properly formed. You can move around. There's a few things you can do with that. So it's good to have. But when you come for that plain, simple 5 meter middle ball, front ball, down drive, you've got to give it to the hooker. It's all the hooker's work. Getting it there, making sure it goes to hand.
Yeah, it's the trade-off. All this you get for when you're throwing the ball into the line out and no one catches it and it's your fault. The trade-off is that you get to dot the ball down to the back of Mauls. He's not
getting nah, I mean, he's had one or two. I'm pretty sure he's had
he has had a couple.
But I think he's had a score from open play as well, which is nice as well.
Should we talk about Sarah in the game?
Sarah in the game via Fafita.
Sarah in the game.
I just was saying, we've spoken about him already. I would have given it to Alec Hepburn, but don't ever let me say anything against Veer Fafita. I'm not. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were allowed to give it to props anymore. I thought it was banned, to be honest.
Sometimes this is not specifically about this game. I think one of the reasons the back rowers get it so much is because the pundit gets asked who's your player of the game, and they've got a screen there with all the stats on. So they look over, they go, who's done the most carries, who's done the most tackles, add those two numbers together. Oh, it's a back rower, and they give it to that person. So I think that's it. Mind you, when one of them is Veer Fafita, and you just get a bit starstruck looking at the screen and it says Veer Fafita, then you think, oh, and you give it to him.
I mean,
he did make the most meters of any Scarlets player. To be fair.
Yeah, but I'd like to know how many meters more that was, because it looked as though he had 20 for free for his try. To be honest,
yeah, but he always looks like he runs so slowly, but then he's so fast. He's unbelievable.
He gets like 2 meters per step.
I'll never forget that he picked up from the other 22 and he ran the whole pitch. But it looked like he's running in like slow motion, but like every play was just falling. Was it against Glasgow last season?
Is he the Glasgow or Edinburgh? Yeah. I think it was Edinburgh 2 seasons ago.
Maybe in Edinburgh. But yeah, he picked up the ball and he ran and he just like looks like he's having a little bit of a jog, like. But he beat all. Yeah.
There is one thing I'm gonna have to say about Vaya that I'm not happy about, and I haven't been happy with it for a few seasons. It's the hair. Where's the red hair gone? I'm not happy about this. He could bring back the scarlet hair. That was such a big thing when he signed. I'll dye my hair scarlet. Go for it, and he's got rid of it, and I'm not happy. I'm really not. Again, I know this is probably Lee G's territory talking about hair, but Hepburn's curls, where have they gone?
I know, but it's got better because it was
does look better.
It wasn't prop hair before. Like remember when he signed and we were doing Scarlet seating plan, which I hope they post the picture of the boys having a coffee at some point because you haven't had an episode of the Scarlet seating plan for ages. But
South Africa's coming up.
when he was sat there, we were looking at him like going, "Who is that?" And we're like, "It's our new prop." And like, that's never a prop. He's not a prop. He doesn't look like a prop. And now he's cut his hair. He looks a bit more like a prop. And he's had his best game for the Scarlets. So there you go. He's the reverse.
Hair makes a difference. Yeah.
He's the reverse Samson.
I missed the curls. I thought they were awesome, to be fair. It made the man.
Can I also just point out, as a complete aside, someone at the Scarlets has bought a better camera. And the photos that have come out of the last 2 or 3 games have been
Better.
very, very good. Very, very good. Before Munster were their setter. So a bit behind the scenes for the listeners. We get these photos from an app called Greenfly, which is like a media sharing app. The URC upload them all to like the cloud and we're able to access them from this. So this is all URC official photos. Munster versus Connacht, or Connacht versus Munster this weekend, I think is the most photographed game of rugby in all of human history. I'm not exaggerating. There's thousands of photos on the app for this. You're trawling through them trying to find a picture of the Scarlets. But like I said, someone of the Scarlets has bought a much posher camera, and it is well worth the money because this is a cracking photo.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, you can just see by here the tender love and care that Josh is going like, let's just make sure this is on you right now. We're having the interview. You got to look.
It looks like King Arthur knighting Lancelot.
Wasn't Lancelot meant to be a dwarf or something, or someone short? I mean,
I don't think so.
He doesn't like speaking, or does he? Fafita. They asked him for like
No.
comments on the game. He just went, right, yeah, I better do it then. And then Josh took over.
Josh, you just answer this question for us. Imagine it's a question like, Vea, what did you make of the game? And he goes, Josh, will you answer that for us?
Well, the thing is, obviously, I know we've spoken with the now superstar Carmen Tuapolotu about the Tongan tribe. The Sam Lowsey is the leader of it. But you got to think, if Vea speaks, you listen. You know, even Josh included. If Vea speaks, you do as he says. You know, that man is an absolute legend in the game of rugby. Whether that's in New Zealand, Tonga, or Wales, he's just another level completely.
It's a good photo Cowdor as well.
There's a little bit of a moment after the game with Cowdor, so it was great. I don't know if I mentioned on the pod, but it was great.
So,
I remember you told us.
Yeah. He's so cocky. He's so good.
He's the ultimate scrum half. He's like,
he's
imagine a scrum half, and that's Cowdor. But so obviously his stats are decent. So interesting thing about his stats is 50% of all of the passes made in the game was by him. Not in the game, but by the Scarlets in the game. It was by him. Now, a scrum half always makes the most passes, but even 50% is pretty darn good. And 58% of the kicks were him. And I really liked him at the end when he was just dinking it when we were in the Ospreys, just outside their 22, and he just kept dinking it behind them. And I go on then, play out, and then they couldn't, and then they get the ball back, and you just do it again. He literally kept them there for about 12 minutes just doing that.
There was a few fans asking about that, like, why does he keep kicking it back there? I was like, well, you always complain about us not controlling the game, and then we try and control the game. They moan about it. Like, why are we running it? It's like, because he's trying to win the game, But he plays like a different game when he plays against the Ospreys. I think he's just built for it.
Like before the game, when the team came out, and rightfully so, there were issues with Archie not being selected on the bench, and we've got issues with the amount of minutes that Gareth Cowdor is playing anyway.
Yeah, so it's another 80 minutes there. Yeah.
Would you have taken him off though? Because I wouldn't, the way he was playing.
I mean, we were 38-17 up at around the 60-minute mark.
Yeah, how bad must Evan Jones be? If Dwayne's worried about them scoring
4 scores,
24 points, 4 tries.
Yeah,
I mean that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I get the point.
Well, that's a question that I'm asking, because I'm saying that can't be the case.
No, I mean Evan is very much a game manager of a 9.
Yeah. So
when he came down from
We haven't seen much of it, though,
well,
have we?
yeah, I know we haven't got much evidence for it.
No.
well, we haven't got much evidence that he can play rugby at all for these last couple of seasons. They've
Got a
got
feel for him.
minimal minutes between them. I think there's something like
It's the
there's something like 1,400 minutes of rugby we've played, and Cowdo's played like over like 1,200 odd of them. It is something ridiculous like
well,
that.
it's the most bizarre use of a 6-2 split I've ever seen, where the two didn't come on at all, and the six came on. I think like they didn't use the last forward replacement to like the 75th minute, something like that. Like didn't use them, and it's like we've been begging him to go for a 6-2 split, preferably with one of Ver and Ortain on the bench, and they just again, it's just I think we're just gonna have to accept it at this point. Dwayne doesn't like making substitutions. It's just gonna be we just need to stop pointing it out. Because this, if it gets to the point where we've got a 6-2 split, he doesn't use the two and leaves half of the six on the bench until the 75th minute. Like,
Well, to be fair, I did have a pop and say, if you're not going to pick them off the bench, there's no point in selecting them anyway. And then Charlie Titcombe didn't turn up, so we had no 10 cover on the bench. So I might listen a bit, teeny tiny bit. We might be able to leeway something in there somewhere. We'll get a bench eventually. This point in 2 years' time.
yeah. Just last thing, kind of. So last bit of kind of worry from it in terms of things that we could have done better is again we are having a bit of a physicality deficit. So if I just like share the stats, like in the defensive profile, like 18 dominant hits by the Ospreys to our 7. And in terms of meters made, like post contact meters per carry, the Ospreys were a good 0.6 of a meter better than us. We were 1.84. Anything lower than 2 is a bit on the low side, whereas they won 2.4. And they won 3 tackle turnovers as well, as in they hit us so hard that we dropped the ball. So it's just
I wouldn't go into that tackle turnover too much because I think at least 2 of them, if not all 3, came inside that first 15 minutes when nothing was going right. And yes, they might have won that on the stats board, won that physical battle. They didn't create anything, and those carries, that attacking, it didn't worry us. It's a case of if we look at all 3 of their tries individually, obviously the first one was a massive mess where Craig has placed the ball behind the line and not dotted it down, blah, blah, blah. The next one is Huw and Lloyd sliding back. It doesn't even make an attempt to grab the ball, just let, whatever, was it Hopkins or whoever it was, grab it and go over. The penalty, their own player kicks the ball out of the ruck, and Cowdo gets pinged for not rolling when he hasn't had a chance to roll yet. And then their third try, we're down to 14, so that's partially our fault, which we can work on. But Cowdo and Blair Murray, both of them could have got hands on Dan Edwards and just didn't for whatever reason. In the 74th minute, I don't know if it was a case of they thought the game was won and they did that tiniest bit of effort dropped off. But all of their tries came from errors on our part. They did not create anything on their own front, which is what I'm trying to say here. They can, if they want to carry the ball forward 3 meters per carry, per contact meters for every carry, it doesn't matter if they're not going to get the final product, which they didn't have in this game, and they haven't actually had in a lot of games. If you even if you watch the Connacht game, I know they scored like 43 points. But even that, they lived off Connacht's mistakes. This seems to be a team that's very clinical off mistakes, off the opposition, causing issues for themselves. But when it comes to creating their own scores, it's something they struggle with a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, we've struggled with it a lot anyway. But let's not talk about them so much anymore. Anything else to say on this game before we get to the good bit of the show?
No. Max Page had a decent game.
Yeah, he did well whenever he got the ball. Really got some good meters. So
very different. He's very different again. When you talk about our back 3 players, He's very different to all the rest of them as well.
He is. You kind of think that he's the smallest of the lot. Well, actually, okay, I think he might be slightly bigger than Blair Murray, and you think he's probably the most powerful. Like even when you compare him to 6'4" Ellis Mee, you get Max at full tilt, and I don't think there's many that are gonna get a dominant hit or even a neutral hit on him.
And to think, right, if we didn't have the injuries, I think Max would be playing, as much as he is now, and same
Tommy
as
Lewis isn't
Ellis.
playing.
Yeah, I know. He's beaten for the place now, so.
I was saying he's being selected over Tommy Lewis, which, if we go back to this time last season,
Tommy Lewis was on fire.
Absolutely unthinkable. I mean, even when we go to the start of the season, no one would have thought of Ellis Mee or even Max Page being anywhere near our starting 15 for these games. But, that just shows, what one, the season can do, and two, if you give young players minutes, you listening, Dwayne? I'm talking about 9 and some other positions here.
That's
if you
basically
give
what I was
young
gonna say.
players minutes, they will reward you with form. They will reward you and show you what they can do. What you see in training, they will put onto the field if they get the minutes to do so.
They're fighting for their place now. If they have a really bad game, they're very likely to be dropped, right? But it should be the same for scrum halves as well. So.
Oh well.
My last thing on this game. Were we better in the one that we lost?
I think so.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think we were better over the full 80, no doubt. No doubt in my mind about that. I thought that was one of Eddie's best games for us at was it the Liberty? I don't know what ground it was.
The library.
The library. No, that was a really good game. I think that was one of the last decent. I think we've only put in like 3 or 4 decent performances since that game. This one included.
So
it's a shame we don't get another chance at the Liberty in there. Oh wait, we do.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway, come on, let's do the community bit.
Okay, so just a little before community, we do have a bit of an academy bit of news. So obviously under 16s, first half of the year after Christmas, they played Dual Shield, and now it's more of a smaller, more compact 16s over a few months, and then a combined 16s for a few weeks. And our combined 16s went up to RGC this past weekend. I think it was yesterday, as it's Monday today, so Sunday. And they decided to just, walk over RGC. 59-17, they won that game, which is, wow. I mean, we spoke about our under-18s and how good they are and, where they put in results. But that all gets fed into from our 16s and to a certain extent the 17s, which is a slightly smaller program that is run through at the probably end of spring, beginning of summer, if I get my dates right. So I'm going to have to warn you, there is a shock result on this page, and it's very, very soon, if not first. So just be prepared for this. Okay. So, it's not first, but this one's kind of a shock anyway. So we'll start in the SRC as
you are kidding me.
And Carmarthen Quins, for the first time since November, have picked up a win in Super Rugby Cymru, 29-21 at home to RGC. Look, RGC didn't look like winning this game at any point. You read the match reports, you look at the social commentary coming through the game. Quins dominated this one, and it was with Ellis Price at 10 for majority of the game. So, that's pretty good going for someone who was predominantly a 12. So, rest of the boys we had in the Quins lineup, we had Gabe McDonald, Keanu Evans, and our under-18 skipper, Ocean Williams. And then on the bench, we had Ellis Payne. So, cracking stuff. But there, if I can get it up now, I actually got a comment from Quinn's DOR, Steph Thomas. they're delighted to get the 5 points, and their confidence is sky high. He's really happy with that young group of players they got, and he says they're getting better every week on week. They work hard, and it's just positive things you want to hear, because they've got a big task coming up this Saturday. Other game. So Llandovery travelled to St Helens. And okay, boys, we had in the squad, we had Harry Thomas, Ed Scragg, Cian Abraham at 13, and Jack Davis all in the starting 15. And we had another one of our under 18s, Kai Howell, on the bench. No one's quite sure what happens. Even Euros, again, I've got a bit of commentary from him as well. So Swansea won 42-24. This is bottom place Swansea beating current cup holders, current league champions, Llandovery Drovers. So, Euros is exactly the same, disappointing result and performance. And he's basically said, refocusing after the cup final has been incredibly hard. That said, he thought Swansea were excellent and, fully deserved of their victory. And, they've got a job on their hand now to bounce back. So going into this week, it's slightly different again, because Wales 19s are playing at Talbot Athletic Ground, Aberafan, on Saturday. So for the Quins, Keanu Evans and Ocean Williams, along with Lewis Jones and Jake Bowen, they are not going to be involved because they are away with Wales 19s. I haven't had a list from the Drovers of their boys that'll be going, but I don't think there's too many. I would imagine Kai Howell, Dom Kossuth. Well, actually, I think Kossuth might be with Wales in 18s, come to think of it. But they're not going to be as impacted then. So, games for this week in the SRC, we got Carmarthen Quins travelling to, that SRC Cup final losers, Ebbw Vale. So, one of the toughest grounds in the league to go to. That's a tough ask. And then Llandovery are hosting Aberafan. 6 points here could really set them up for a home quarter final in the playoffs. That loss against Swansea has kind of put the last nail in the coffin of getting a home semi-final in the playoffs. They drove us just mathematically. It's going to take a good couple of results now. And Carmarthen Quins could help them out, by the way. But it's going to take a few results for them to get into the top two before the end of the season. Okay, so into the Premiership now. Proper community rugby. No one's getting paid here officially. Llangennech went to Neath on a Friday night in the misogynistic derby, or I don't know what you want to call this one.
Oh no, because the Llangennech never done nothing wrong.
Oh no, they didn't do nothing wrong. It's all
this was the game that had the famous promotional campaign. Do we know if many people turned up for it?
I know someone who went, but I haven't seen an attendance, which is very, very silly of me for not actually checking that. But Llangennech, they've got a good following anyway, so I would imagine
we'll be back with you. Palindromic score
again. He's liking this word today. So Neath 43, Llangennech 34. Neath are top three clear in this league with Merthyr and Ponty. So to get close to them at the Knoll is a good job. So well done, Llangennech. Got a bonus point. Happy days. Narberth then travelled to one of those top three, Merthyr, who look odds on now to win the league after Pontypridd have decided to lose their last three for whatever reason. That was one of them.
Close game, though.
When I went out on Saturday, the bloke walked past me in a Ponty jersey.
Yeah, well, there we go. You could have spoken about that. Oh, he's gonna done. Just leave him. So it's really just one try away from another. How say the word score? 78-17. That 7 points would have made it 71. It could have been more fun, but no. Narberth have had a season to forget. They are looking likely to go down with Newcastle Emlyn, who had the bye. Fixtures for this coming week now. So Newcastle Emmen travel to Bargoed. That is a tough opposition again. Narberth at home to Brecon. Again, we're talking 4th and 5th places between Bargoed and Brecon, if I'm not wrong. Llangennech were meant to be playing Cross Keys, but Cross Keys are in the Cup final. So well done to them. Over into Championship West now, and Ammanford's game away to Gowerton. They were 20 points to 7 down before the game was abandoned on the 42nd minute due to injury. I'll be honest, boys, I haven't checked in to see who the injured player was, what team it was, or whatever, but, speedy recovery to whoever it is, and hopefully this game will be replayed, because 42 minutes, the result is not going to stand, and, for a few teams' sake, it's probably good, because Gowerton, they are in that basement battle, and Ammanford should really be beating them. So, this could be one of them moments where an injury has actually helped change someone's relegation into a safe spot. So happy days. Shettley Wanderers 68-12 winners at home against Crymych. Yeah, Wanderers are going for it now. They've got a lot of work to do, but first place is in their grasp. Fixtures this week got Crymych at home to Dunvan. I don't know why Ammanford not playing. They might have the bye, but Shettley Wanderers are in the Championship Cup final. I'll run through those games at the end. One West, Aberystwyth 81-5 winners at home to Wellinville. They thought, you know what, Tenby are only a point behind us. We'll set down a marker. Buddyport in a nice little local derby, 24-8 at home to Kidwelly. Tenby thought, you know what, St. Clair's are only one place behind us in third. I'll put our own marker down, 51-0 at home.
Yeesh.
This is literally going down to the wire. It's coming down to this week now. When I led 17-15 winners at home against Pencloud, who are already relegated. And, well, Ben Gie's favourite team in the world, Ponte de Lice, 121-19 away to Hendy. If it weren't for if it weren't for the real West Wales derby, you would have been at this one more than likely.
Yes, probably, yes.
Brad Moore's Hendy.
Bradmore's Andy that we've all recently figured out. You know what? Ben Gie probably saw him a few times. You can see him on the border every single day, just wishing for a house to come up for let or for sale. Just please let me cross the barrier.
He was on. So people who haven't seen, Brad Moore was on the Good Bad Rugby ANZ podcast, and they obviously, because he's coached in Wales, they asked him like, "Oh, what do you make of what's going on with Welsh rugby?" And he just started talking for 10 minutes about how much he loved Hendy and Llanelli and Scarlets fans. And then he's told a story about Phil Bennett, which I'll post on socials later this week, and things like that. Just an unprompted love letter to the Scarlets. So if you haven't checked that out, and Brad Moore, if you end up somehow watching this, all Scarlets fans still love you. You're probably the most popular former coach we've ever had.
I'm pretty sure he gets mentioned every week down the park.
He is up there. He is up there with some of the most famous. But if I go on, I'm checking something. Chill out.
Okay.
So fixtures for One West this week. We've got Tenby away to Wellinville and Aberystwyth away to Kidwelly. There is Hendy away to Pencloud as well. But it's those first two games, Tenby and Aberystwyth, both away. The title is being decided this weekend. Aberystwyth, they get the 5 points. They've done it. They don't get the 5 points. And then it's all up in the air. Could finish on the same points. This is really tense stuff now, boys. Absolutely squeaky bum time, to say the least, between these two. It's going to be epic. It's going to be magic. And we've got nothing better to do on a Saturday this weekend. So maybe visit Wellinville, maybe visit Kidwelly, maybe go to Tag and watch Wales 19s. But either way, watch some rugby. Okay, to West Central and Brynaman have continued their marvellous second half of the season, 66-21 at home to Pencord. They don't have a game this week. They will be back in action on the 12th when they face Mumbles at home. To West, Carmarthen Athletic winning 31-13 away to Bedford. You've got to let me say it. Milford Haven winning 42-19 against Loughor. No one No one likes Lager. Nangared against Fishguard postponed. Lampeter winning 24-10 away to Whitland. Fixtures for this week, we've got Carmarthen Athletic at home to Nangared. That is another nice little derby to keep your eye on. Lampeter at home to Betos and Milford Haven doing the reverse and now travelling to Lacher. Down into 3 West, we got to Croyce winning 19-17 away to Aberaeron. This was a top table clash and has set the way for De Croyce to really just, do what they need to do now and claim that title. Haverfordwest 33-30 winners away to Cardigan. Kevnathan going down 12-15 at home to Llandilo, already relegated Kevnathan. Tumble getting a bit more revenge for their cup exit at the hands of their lovely little partner, Ponteberem, 19-3 at Tumble. Fixtures for this week, to Croyce travelling to Kevnathan, Llandilo hosting Cardigan and Aberaeron going to Llangadog. We got 4 West A, Langham going down 17-19 at home to Llanybydr, Narberth Athletic 38-5 winners at home against Crymych Tairo. Fixtures this week, Narberth Athletic at home against Langham, Llanybydr at home against Newcastle Emlyn Dreigiau, and Pembroke travelling to St David's. 4 West B, Binya 2023 losers at home against Tregaron, Furness 31-16 winners at home against Pont Yates, and Trimsaran winning 27-15 at home against Pennebank. Huw's New Dock Stars are playing this coming Saturday at home against Llandibby, Pantavannan at home to Pont Yates, and Trimsaran travelling to Tregaron. There is a little fixture in the Division 4 Cup where it's a semi-final between Neyland and Gwynafed. Hell of a trip for them. So, got to back Neyland to do this year. So, if I go over to the Cup finals, it's not the full Cup final weekend we're used to. It's just the 3. So, starting the day, Division 1 final at 1 o'clock. We got Bridgend Athletic at home at the Principality Millennium against Carnarvon. Llanelli Wanderers against Tondi, a team, if I'm not wrong, they've already beaten twice this season. And then the Premiership final is the aforementioned Cross Keys against Pontypridd.
I'll tune in for that ones game.
What was that? You're going to tune in for it?
I'll tune in for that. It'll be on YouTube, will it?
Should be on YouTube. The WIU's one. It should also be, I would have thought it'd be Espedrac, Click, or even on their YouTube as well. So a bit of youth to talk through. There was meant to be a semi-final in the Carmarthenshire Cup between Llandilo and St Clair's. I haven't had a score result update. I can't find one. I haven't done that much digging. I've been lazy this week, people. I really have. I'm sorry. Armagh United against Carmarthen Quins. The other semi-final is meant to be going down this weekend. And on Friday night, we do have the WRU Youth Cup final. Llandilo looking to retain their crown as they face Pontypool United. That one, again, is likely to be on WRU TV, YouTube, etc., etc. And that brings us to the end of the awesome and very much needed community game. So, let's check our little agenda. Talk about next game if we can be asked. Can we be asked, boys, for 3 minutes?
Before we get into that, Mark, we've had a letter.
No. It's not in the agenda. He's not doing it.
Well, it's just come in. It's just landed on my desk.
Oh, he didn't say one last week. No,
I know. He's gone. It's from Jack from Lucker. He says this. Dear Sosbans and Sidesteps, I'll have you know this is actually my second choice letter. I'm resting my first choice letter ready for next week. Therefore, anything you say about this letter is irrelevant. Yours, Jack from Lucker. Now, there you go. There you have it, boys. Second choice letter, so it doesn't count.
I'm surprised he didn't end us saying enjoy it while you can, because that's what the Ospreys like saying now.
Yeah. Well, they put that on the van, didn't they?
The van on the way out to the stadium, they did.
Well,
that where that van is, to be fair, that looks like there should be a Phil Bennett statue over there, to be honest. But I'll just leave that there.
So yeah, we're playing them again this weekend. I don't know. What would you do? Would you rotate? I've seen a fair few Scarlets fans saying, crack on, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to change. I would bring Tommy Lewis back in. I know Max Page had a great game again, but him as an impact player, coming on with his tired legs. I love it. I love doing it. Huw has put Via Fafita as a lock back in my mind. So, sticking him at lock and having Craig on the bench, I'm just creating a stronger bench. That's all I would do really in this game. I would try and create a stronger bench because let's face it, they didn't really get much use out of their bench in this game. They had a couple come on early, so I would
They made a couple
probably
of changes
do
at half time.
exactly because we were just awesome. That was why.
Mm.
But yeah,
I can't see
literally
us making that much changes though.
no.
I think they keep
I
them almost the same.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same 23.
Yeah.
Or maybe barring Archie coming
Because
back.
that's the
into it.
last thing they'd be expecting.
Yeah, but no, for me, the only thing I would be changing, I would be looking at trying to make a stronger bench. That's the only thing I would like. We know who is in now. We know Kemsley, Johnny, Sam Costello. We know these boys are not back for this game. Not back for a few more weeks.
They should be
So
back for the Leinster game, right? Was that
possibly,
Maybe.
Because I know
possibly that's what 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, might be a push. They're probably looking South Africa, and even then, if you're coming back from
you don't
injury,
really want to be.
traveling down there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
maybe
like,
next
don't get me
season.
wrong,
Oh no, hang on. What about Dragons in the Judgment Day?
that's
The
before
Judgment
Leinster
Day.
in there.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah,
it's the week after, isn't it? Week after.
Leinster's a week after. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the round of 16 against these guys again on Sunday. We've then got whoever I think it's probably going to be Leon. I want Leon in the
Well,
quarters.
I'll
Don't
tell you
fancy going
now,
to
we're
South
getting
Africa.
battered by Leon. Like Leon are really good.
They won't care. No one cares about this cup until the semi-finals anyway, so they'll probably put a second streak out. Focus on the top 14. Please tell me they'll do that.
If we do win, it'd be away as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So away, unless we somehow come up against Cardiff, is in
Right.
the semi-finals, which is highly unlikely because I can't see them getting past Connacht. Oh,
No.
sorry, Cardiff Central. Ooh. Yeah, that's the only team we can face at home.
Hmm.
But yeah. We've gone a bit doom and gloom now, boys. Let's perk it up a little bit. Let's do it.
We've had our big result now. We've had our big day.
I still haven't decided if I'm going. And
You've got tickets, haven't you?
No.
Ah.
Well, hurry
No.
up. Otherwise you won't get one.
Hurry up,
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
going to get one.
It's gonna sell out.
Which ground is it at? Have they booked the
Uh,
big ground or are they taking it to a smaller one?
That's
Library
the big one
again.
there. It's the library.
Oh.
Which I said the last time I went to the game there. I was like, I don't want to go again. And then they were like, oh, we're down at Liberty again. Great.
I don't understand why they picked Liberty, because picking the stadium meant they had to have the Sunday kickoff.
Yeah.
Like, and there's, don't get me
But I
wrong.
think-
we
But I think
got
there was a
just
big
over
thing. The
11,000.
Bridge End wasn't free either. I've got
Yeah,
half a memory
because they
earlier
were
in
playing
the
home,
season.
and they're playing
Yeah.
playing home. But
Yeah.
well, I can't
Play the
see them
park again.
getting. Yeah, I can't see them, getting any sort of close to what we had done in the park on Saturday. So maybe like 7,000-8,000, maybe.
No, I wouldn't even thought that. I'd say 6 is a push.
Well, apparently the sections we sold more than we did the last game for the Scarlets.
Oh, really?
We're going
Yeah.
to after that.
Yeah, so we sold like a section and a half, I think, and now we've sold 2 out fully. So there's a third section of the Scarlets they've released.
So it's around UE11, isn't
Yeah.
it? I think.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I was in
I
that
know-
section last time. Yeah, it's right in the corner.
Yeah. Someone asked on social, I was like, I'm pretty sure it was in and around UE11. So just putting that out there for anyone deciding to go. Yeah, well, come on.
I probably will go,
Bloody-
but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if
I'll
it was
buy you.
they could have made it work at the brewery. The SRC
Yeah.
teams are happy to accommodate. They'd move it to the Friday or even the Sunday. We had a Sunday game this week, Newport, Pontypool. Bridgend played on Thursday night. This week just gone. So, playing games on different days isn't an issue for the SRC teams, especially if they get in a bit of dosh as well.
Oh, exactly.
Bridgend could do with that. Have you seen the Scott Baldwin sponsorship packaging pictures? You know, some
No.
of the little videos, I don't know if I don't think cringe is the right word, but it's like, oh, okay, this is what you're doing. But yeah,
All right. Well, okay. So
prediction.
Scarlets by 2. I don't know. We've had the big day now.
It does feel like it's like the hangover, isn't it? It's like Boxing
Yeah.
Day. It's like, oh, I can't really be bothered with it anymore. Christmas is done.
Yeah.
We've had a Christmas now. But I
I haven't
think,
finished putting out the clips and the posts of this game yet. I've got a load more to put up tomorrow.
yeah, so
Um, I know we just spoke a little bit about selection and what we're expecting now. I'm just thinking, what if Dwayne does just literally flips the script on the book and just changes everyone? What if he does
it's
put?
not gonna happen.
What if we
Well, if
get?
he does
What if,
that,
no,
then
no,
as we know, as Jack from Looker has told us, it means that any result therefore doesn't count.
because I've just got an image in my head that we're gonna have Sam O'Connor, Harry Thomas, and Gabe Hawley as our starting front row. Can
Well,
you
and then we win
imagine?
by 100 points, you mean?
Yeah, if we Harry Thomas plays, we're always gonna
Yeah,
win by
exactly. Harry
1,000.
Thomas playing. Yeah. Uh, I can see Archie Hughes starting this game for sure. Same as the way as the
Yeah,
roster. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
See
I
that
was
happening.
thinking the same. That'd be the one change I could see.
I mean, I could see him coming back into 23, but yeah, that would be a very Dwayne thing to do. You know, I'm dropping you for inconsistencies when I've given you bunk
Right.
minutes.
So what we saying?
You know
Right.
what? You're coming back into the starting
Let's write
lineup.
it down now. Right. So we're going Sam O'Connor, we're going Harry Thomas, we're going Gabe Hawley, we're going
Jack Price.
Jack Price, we go in Morgan Jones or Ed Scragg.
No, I don't think either. Oh, actually, I go Morgan Jones. You would. You go Morgan Jones.
All right, Morgan Jones. And then in the back row, we're going what?
Taylor Davis.
No, Keanu Evans, I'm more thinking.
He's with the 19s.
Oh.
Tian Sparrow.
T and Sparrow. There you go. T and Sparrow. There you go. Good
Yeah.
shout, Mark. And then who are we thinking?
Dan.
Call Carwin back from Poe. He'll play in this one. He'll do us a favour.
Ben Williams is injured, so can't really call on him. It is have to be Taylor and Davis. It is going to have to be this the second string technically.
All right. Okay. Then we're starting off the dream team: Archie and Charlie.
Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then centers, we'll have Gabe
We'll play.
McDonald and
Yeah,
Page.
Gabe McDonald and Max Page in the centres. I like that. It's good partnership. Those maybe Griff Watkin give me a go off the bench.
Stick an under 18 in. Wow.
We'll have two players with blue scrum caps on the bench, on the pitch.
Yeah, that's fun. And then, I mean, I don't like calling him second string, but it's going to have to be like Tommy Lewis.
So Tom Lewis is at 15.
Jack Davis.
Oh no, Jack Davis. No, it's Jack Davis on the wing. I think he's a mid.
And then Cian Abraham on the other one.
Yeah.
He's been doing awesome for Llandudno, by the way, since he's come back from injury. Like he's missed like massive chunks of the season. He's played like 5-6 games. I might be one over by you, but he has looked awesome. He was great in the cup final. You know, he's a good boy, and they started playing him at 13 as well. So I don't know if this is sort of a transition into the future. You know, we've seemed to have got pretty decent back three options. We even got young Yori Badam when he does come back. So yeah. Well, we've named a 15 a proper second string 15. Wow. And you can
Very good.
imagine them with all that Hoyle in their spirits, they're not going to care about the crowd of 6,000. Am I going to be generous? Did we say 7 or 8? Like I'm not taking a shot. I'm
7
really
people.
not.
No, the Scarlets have done a lot of marketing for this. They've been doubleheader has been a big thing, so I reckon there'll be more than there was on not Boxing Day.
Yeah, I think it'd be more than that, but there wasn't many there. So
How much was it on that game? I
8,500 not Boxing Day.
I should have it on you, actually.
Just told you the answer. It's 8,500.
8,500. It couldn't have been.
It was.
No, why
I don't think it was that much.
They made a big deal about it on the telly.
I've got 6,000.
It didn't feel like that.
I've got 6,836.
Yeah.
What? That can't be right.
That's what I've got in my little spreadsheet.
I'll
Whether
check
or not that's
later.
wrong.
That sounds wrong. Can't be that, but it's got to be more than that, surely.
Well, you'd like to think so. 7,000. We'll say 7,000's a target. I think we can hit 7,000.
Yeah, we'll get it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's enough talking about that.
So you said Scarlets by 2. Ben said Scarlets by 30. I'll say Scarlets by 40. Is that good?
Put words in my mouth now. Oh, I'm not confident like I was last week, but just because it's a pod, Scarlets by 4.
4. Well, we won. Oh, you've just taken it from my head. Damn. Because Huw done this little thing on what home ground is worth. It's like 12 points, wasn't it? So like we won by 16 this week. Home ground's worth 12 points. So it's going to go down to 4.
That's only Twickenham's worth that, but yeah.
That's only okay, never mind. Close enough. Close enough. No, I think there'll be 2 scores again. I think 11. So yeah, that's it.
Confident.
Do we have anything else to discuss?
No.
No? Nothing from Huw? Nothing from Pringle?
No. Nothing for me.
I mean, you do need to change your name. I don't know what BEN meant, but I'm sure Pringle starts with B. But
Yeah.
there we go. Okay, well, if you've made it this far, I think we're like an hour 20 or something like that. Thank you so much for listening to our bullshit for these last hour 20. Like, share, subscribe, share with a friend, get someone else involved. Go to the Liberty because we get like 20% of the gate receipts. So, pack the place out, please.
Yes.
That gives the Scarlets a bit of. So basically, if you're buying the 30 quid ticket, then 6 quid of that's coming our way. So you're supporting us as well. Remember that, not us the pod, Scarlets us the club. Okay, thank you boys for coming on and doing this. I know I can be a lot. We'll do it all again next week, celebrating another win and prepping for a trip to France to play Lyon. Ooh! All right, then, lads.
Watch this space.
Thank you again. Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,